Hi students, and welcome to today's live IELTS class. My name is Adrian, and I am streaming to you from beautiful Budapest here in Central Europe. I hope everybody has had a great week or is having a great Friday. Today, we are going to finish IELTS Task 2 writing essay that we started in yesterday's class for our members. This is a members chat class. Everybody is welcome to watch. In about 90 minutes, we will have a class where everyone can chat for listening sections 3 and 4 of the IELTS exam. Sheng Hung, good to see our member in class on time. Hi to you as well. Students, viewers, these materials do come from our websites for academic. Check us out at aehelp.com, where we have 6 full practice exams, over 100 hours of video lessons, and a fully interactive course with strategies to get those better band scores. For general IELTS, check us out at gieltshelp.com, where the content is focusing for the general version of the test, especially, of course, the reading and writing sections. Hi, Jairam. Hi, Valiant. Venture. Good to see more students coming into the class. Just a quick peek at those websites. This is our academic one here at aehelp.com. Click that red button to join us there. And for the general, it looks like this with the green background at gieltshelp.com. Click that big red button to join us there. Hi, Alexander. Good to have you in class. For academic students, download our app, Academic IELTS Help. Look for our shield. You can connect your app with your web account so that you can study from your computer or your phone at your convenience. Students, you can get our hard copy exams from Amazon. Search for AE Helps Academic IELTS or GE Helps General. If you have questions, send an email to me, Adrian, Adrian, at aehelp.com. Hi, Amarjeet. Let's get into today's lesson. Just one last very important announcement. Members, please take note of this. Viewers who are regularly in class. I will be away traveling for the next few days, and I said the classes will continue on the 13th of September. That was my mistake. Sorry about that. They will continue September 14th, which will be Saturday, and I will try my best to put some extra classes in to make up some of that lost time. So take note that classes will continue after today on the 14th. Okay? All right. Amarjeet, my microphone is turned up quite high, so if anybody else is having trouble hearing me, let me know. Or maybe just turn the volume up on your side, Amarjeet. Okay. All right, students, so let's get into today's lesson. This is IELTS Writing Task 2, the question from yesterday. Let's do a quick review of yesterday's class so that we know where to go with the next steps. The question reads, in many parts of the world, people spend much time to research family history. Some say that this has lots of benefits. Others believe that we should focus on the present and future generations. Discuss both views and give your own opinion. So we paraphrased the question. We identified the topic. The topic is time spent on learning about our family or planning for our family. Hi, Kisi. Hi, Li Ying. Good to see many more members, Zainab. And the controlling idea was the benefits and deficits of researching family history versus focusing on the present and future generations. So we discussed why there's this discrepancy, this disagreement, and we came up with some good ideas. Definitely spend a minute or two to come up with good ideas, okay? When you have the right idea, so when you have the number one, number two best point for the body paragraph, you will feel it, you will know. So here, for why learn about our family history, we came up with the points that, first of all, it ignites pride, so it creates pride in individuals, which encourages them potentially or motivates them to become achievers. And that's a really good point for a body paragraph. And then another clever point by some members, they said, well, knowing about your past helps you to understand your genetics, and that can be very useful for medical purposes. So then we talked about why we should focus more on the present and future generations. And the members said, well, we cannot change our past, but we can certainly affect the future society to create a better future. And then we focused our ideas more specifically to foster. Foster means to take care of and raise strong, independent children who become capable adults in the future that can solve problems which will arise in their time, in their context. And we even set some examples like global warming and overpopulation and so on. So from these, we came up with our thesis statement, which we will read in just a moment at the end of our introductory paragraph. Now, for those viewers who are a little bit new to task 2 essays or to essay writing according to Western schools or English schools, I'm not too sure how it is in the East, but in Western schools, there's a very standard structure for essays that students learn starting from about grade 10. So focused essay writing in Canada, US, UK, students begin this in grade 10. That's where they are introduced to writing a full page or couple pages of information in this structure of introductory paragraph, body paragraphs, and conclusion. So this is a regular study in high school, in college, and university, these essay papers. So native speakers do have a lot of practice with this, and it's a very common part of the education system. There is a very specific structure to it, and this is what you need to show in your task 2 essays to get those high band scores. So the introduction should have a hook, some background information, and some thesis, or a good thesis, I should say. And I know some teachers teaching IELTS around the world, they say, oh, hook is not necessary in task 2, or you don't really need too much background information. Just kind of paraphrase the question and create this indirect thesis, like my essay will discuss these points. That is not a strong essay format. And even in grade 10 or 11, teachers, high school teachers, would tell their students not to do that, okay? So it's not an effective approach to communicating ideas in an essay. It's definitely a good idea to do a hook, background, thesis. There's a much better chance that you will get a better band score if you have the complete, accurate structure for the essay. Is everybody following me so far? So Firdavs, Amarjeet, Valiant, Venture, Rahul, Zainab, Lee, Kisi, Preeti, are you following the cultural logic that I'm trying to pass on to you of what is behind this concept of task 2 essay writing, especially in the academic, but even in the general? Because I am aware that education systems differ in different parts of the world, but definitely in Australia, UK, Canada, US, essay writing is a very standard part of the education system, okay? So they want students who are coming from other countries to have at least a similar type of ability for essay writing when they go to university and when they enter the mainstream public. Thank you for those responses, Shengheng, Firdavs. That encourages me that you're on the same page. Okay, so we did this yesterday with this question about learning about the past family versus the present and future. focusing on family. And we came up with this introductory paragraph. So here's the hook. The hook is a fairly simple sentence, no mistakes. It's your first impression, catches the reader. Should not really be an argument. It should be your own words. Sometimes students use quotations, famous sayings, and that's okay in university in some situations, but on the IELTS exam, just stick to your own words. And don't introduce a strong opinion right away. It's not a good strategy for communication. So just a fact that's interesting, that catches your reader. Using the topic. The topic is about time spent on learning about family or planning for family. So here's the hook. It is common for most people around the globe to invest a significant amount of time to learn about their family. And then we give a background, like, what do you mean? Okay, so that's what you have to think about for the background information. The background is the setting. It's like in a movie, it's the backdrop, it's the context. So it's what's happening behind the actors and the actresses. It gives the reader or your audience the context so they know where you are coming from. Okay? So when you say learning about family, your reader will think, well, what do you mean learning about family? So what does that mean? Actually traveling around your country, searching for your uncles, your great uncles, your grandparents, their hometown, records in libraries, searching the internet, or doing genetic assessments. So here's the background according to me, or according to us yesterday. Millions of people spend hundreds of dollars for genetic tests to learn about their ancestry, while the world faces many challenges for the survival of the human species. Okay, so we're talking about this investment of time to learn about our genetics and also understanding the need for survival. Therefore, evaluating the effective use of time dedicated to family studies is important. Certain benefits of investing time into learning one's lineage are setting foundations to motivate achievement and discovering knowledge to negate illness. So this is leading into the thesis. This is creating an argument. Basically, here we're saying that the benefits, the positives of learning about your past is that you can become motivated and you can become educated about possible threats to health. Okay? And then the opposite side, okay, because we're discussing both sides of this. So on the contrary, taking time to care for current and future generational needs fosters capable adults to tackle the problems of society. I tend to support this latter belief. So from here to here, I have a two-sentence thesis that tells the reader that, okay, in paragraph 1, I'm going to discuss the benefits of learning about our family's past. And in the second body paragraph, or the second part of my essay, if it's a bigger essay, it could be more paragraphs, I'm going to discuss the importance of paying attention to present and future generations so that they can be capable adults in their society. And then I make sure to answer the full question, because the full question says discuss both sides and give your own opinion. So I include all of this content into the thesis. And some of you might think, well, Adrian, that's a really long introduction. Is that not too long for the IELTS exam? No, there is no hard rule on how long an introduction should be. The one rule that's very important for a good introduction in an essay is it needs to set the foundation for what you're talking about and what is the direction of your essay. What is it going to state? If you can do that in 40 words, great, it's possible. If you need to do it in 80 words, then use 80 words. But do not have an introduction that's just 40 words and gives no idea or very little idea to your reader about what you're actually saying. You have to imagine that your reader does not actually know the question. Does that make sense? That last point was quite important. So when you write a good essay, the introduction should be in such a way that your reader, the examiner in the IELTS in this case, doesn't actually know what the question is. They should be able to understand the question from your introduction. Okay? So here's a little trick, members, that you can use to test how good your introduction is. Okay? And I challenge you to try this at some point when you're practicing your essay writing skills and you're practicing for the IELTS. So this is kind of a challenge here. Write an introduction for task 2 and show it to a friend or teacher and ask them, and of course in English, okay, after they read your introduction, and of course make sure they have this level of English to understand your introduction, and then ask them, what is the question that my essay will answer? Okay, that's kind of a really good way to test the quality of your introduction, of your information, is show it, just write an introduction, try it with a couple, don't even bother with the body paragraphs. Of course, it doesn't make sense to write body paragraphs if you're not sure how good your introduction is. So just write a couple introductions, take 2, 3, 4 different kinds of task 2 questions, just write an introduction for each one, and then take it to your class or your school or your teacher or your friend and say, hey, can you just spend 1 minute to read this? And I'm really curious, what question do you think I'm answering with this essay? And then, of course, if they say a question that is very similar to the actual task 2 question, then you know you have a good introduction. That's the good situation, okay? So if they say a question that is very similar to the task 2 question for which you wrote the introduction, then you know you have a good introduction. Okay? If not, then you have to go back to the drawing board. That means start from scratch. Okay? Does that make sense, that exercise? Just want to get a little bit of feedback, make sure you're still with me and I haven't lost your attention. Okay. Amarjit, if you don't go anywhere, how can you check? You might be able to find us a partner online. In fact, members, you can even discuss with each other. This is, of course, your responsibility, but if you exchange your email addresses or something, then you can, I'm pretty sure you can contact each other and try it with each other, okay? So that's one way that you could do this, is with each other. There's a good number of you in this class, so that could be maybe a communal exercise to try over the next few days while I'm off traveling. Okay, so it's a really good test. It really is a good test. Okay, and it's very objective. Of course, as you know, it's very objective. It's not going to be opinionated because the other person has no idea what the question is. Okay, so they're just telling you their opinion. All right, so after the introduction, we did write our body paragraph 1 yesterday, which deals with why we should learn about our family's past history. And the body paragraphs, again, so especially for these persuasive essays, have very standard structures. Okay, there's more than one type of structure for essays, and you learn a few of them as you move through grade 10, 11, 12 college, but the kind of overreaching structure that you see in most essays is this topic, sentence, explanation, example. In bigger essays, you might have more explanation, example. So you might have topic, sentence, explanation, example, example, topics, or sorry, explanation, example, and then you have a connecting sentence. In the IELTS exam, you don't have a lot of time or space, so you just really need one. You need a topic, sentence, explanation, example, and a connecting sentence. And if I'm, aiming for a band 7.5, I might even take out one of these 2 points. So for my first body paragraph, I have motivate achievement and negate or avoid illness. Okay. If I'm in the IELTS, I might say, okay, that's a little bit dangerous. I can't write 400 words in 40 minutes. So I'm going to take out motivate achievement, because avoiding illness is quite easy, I think, to talk about. Okay. Pradeep, there are templates for essays online, absolutely, that follow this kind of structure. All you have to type in, Pradeep, is search for something like, so when you Google it, Pradeep, it's a good question, okay, then you can Google something like this. So it's a good question, Pradeep, because it's a bit of a tricky one to Google for. So Google standard persuasive essay structure. Okay, so that's what I would type into the search: standard persuasive essay structure, and you will find several templates that are going to have very similar structures to what I'm showing you here. Or you can also search for standard argumentative essay structure. Okay. So search for those words. All right. Zainab's asking, if I have synonyms but I don't feel sure about the spelling, is it better to repeat the word? Yes, Zainab, I think so. But try to have confidence in your spelling, as long as I can understand the word. If it's not a terrible spelling mistake, then it's still good to have synonyms, because you're showing lexical resource. So Zainab, it's kind of like 6 of one, half dozen the other. If you keep using the same word over and over again, then your lexical resource score goes down. If you use a synonym but there's a slight spelling mistake, your lexical resource score goes up, but your accuracy or clarity or coherence score might go down a bit. That's where the spelling comes in. So you need to decide, but I think it's a good idea to take a chance on the synonym. Okay. All right. So let's look at the body paragraph with the topic sentence. Here we go. When a person knows more about their roots, of course, like the roots of a tree, where we come from, they can feel proud in their effort to achieve greater goals than their forefathers, their ancestors. In addition, knowledge of one's ethnicity may shed light on potential health concerns. If a person discovers that there are several renowned intellectuals up and down their family tree, like lawyers and doctors, so these are the explanations, they too may feel empowered for postgraduate studies to maintain tradition. Okay. Now, when I'm looking at this, and you should do this kind of correction at home as well, okay, then I think this would actually read better if I put it after the first topic sentence and separate this into a two-part here. Okay, so notice how I read it now. When a person knows more about their roots, they can feel proud in their effort to achieve greater goals than their forefathers. If a person discovers that there are several renowned intellectuals up and down their family tree, like lawyers and doctors, they too may feel empowered for postgraduate studies to maintain tradition. Okay? And then the other point, in addition, knowledge of one's ethnicity may shed light on potential health concerns. Further to this, an individual can also come to learn that there's a high incidence of heart disease in the family, so they can avoid serious issues like heart attacks by going for regular checkups and eating a healthy diet. Okay. And then I give a specific example. These are both true in my case, as my father and grandfather were both doctors, and this encouraged me to earn a doctorate degree in psychology. Also, there's a high occurrence of heart disease in my family, so I go for regular annual visits to the doctor's office. Certainly, these are clear benefits to learning about one's history, but they are worthless without being able to preserve and build the future. What am I doing, members, with this last sentence? So the last sentence, what is that doing for this essay, for this question? This is a little bit of a review because I discussed this in a previous task 2 example, I think about a week ago. So what am I doing with this very last sentence in body paragraph 1? So Sheng Hyung says, I'm making a connection to body paragraph 2. Yes, I'm doing that. And Alexander is saying it's kind of a conclusion to the argument, to point 1. Yes, it is, because I'm saying there are clear benefits to learning about one's history. So I'm concluding what I said here. And then with this part, I'm making that connection. And Ferdov says it is not important. So Ferdovs, can you say that a little bit differently? What am I suggesting already to my audience, to my reader? So Kumar says I'm introducing the opposing argument slightly, yes, and I'm doing one more subtle strategy here that's making my essay better. So, but they are worthless without being able to preserve and build the future. So what other little extra am I including in the way that I present this statement? Yeah, Ferdov's very good. So Ferdov says the first argument is not as important as the second one to come. So what I'm doing is I'm already presenting my position, the side that I agree with, right? Because remember, your thesis has to be clearly presented in the body paragraphs, okay? So here in my thesis, I say I tend to support this later belief that we need to focus on current future generations because the question asks me, what is my position, okay? So with this last sentence, I weaken the value of this first argument and set up for the second body paragraph where I'm going to present the side that I agree with, the stronger case. Okay, so let's do that together now, members. So the second side of the argument is paying attention to future generations and current generations. So body 2, same structure, body paragraphs always topic sentence first. So here we have a topic sentence. When you're practicing at home and even in the IELTS, I highly recommend looking back to your thesis a couple of times, especially when you're starting your body paragraphs. So here, the second part of my thesis is, on the contrary, taking time to care for current and future generational needs fosters capable adults to tackle the problems of society. I tend to support this later belief. So my topic sentence needs to express this idea even more clearly with more details. So do that now, members. Start the topic sentence, body paragraph 2, and express this idea with details. So express the idea that giving effort and energy to our future generations and our current generations or people is very important to make them viable in their context. Viable means able to thrive and live. Okay? So write that topic sentence. I'm going to do the same. Okay. Okay, I'm going to cut that out and put it into the right place, but that is my topic sentence while I wait for yours. Okay, so there we go. Body paragraph 2, topic sentence. Let's see what our members are coming up with. Kumar says one of the most important tasks of a generation is to provide a head start to their progeny. Very nice, Kumar. Nice use of the word. Okay. Ferdov says, on the other hand, it is vital to spend more time to educate generations for present and prospective life trials. Furthermore, they can be able to resolve any issues and missions. Okay, for Dobbs, the first sentence is very good. The second one is a bit awkward, and it's unnecessary. It seems like it's just a repeat of what you said with for prospective life trials. Okay, that prospective life trials for Dobbs, it already explains what you say after with the furthermore. Okay, so you don't need that sentence. It's redundant and it's awkward, so you don't want that in there. Okay. Li Ying says, on the other hand, people who focus more on current life and future plans support their personal development and improve their overall living standards. Li Ying, good. Li Ying, don't use would. Okay. Would is modal. As you know, it's a modal verb, and it weakens your position. So if I would do this, I could do that. It makes it unreal. It makes it uncertain for the speaker. So avoid the words could and would in most argumentative contexts. You want to be affirmative. Affirmative means you want to be sure about what you say. Okay, so one more time, Li Ying. On the other hand, people who focus more on current life and future plans support their personal development and improve overall living standards. Okay, Kisi says, raising an excellent child is a dream of most parents. When these children grow up under good education, they are capable to face the challenges. They are capable to face challenges and find ways to settle in, such as air pollution. Such as air pollution is awkward, Kisi, because it comes after find ways to settle in. So Kisi, if you take out the find ways to settle in, which is awkward anyway, then you have a very good lead. Okay, so one more time, Kisi. Raising an excellent child is a dream of most parents. When these children grow up under good education, they are capable to face challenges such as air pollution. That reads much nicer. Okay. Sheng Hung says, although history is essential, the current and future are also crucial, and especially people need to follow up to these fast-paced generations to solve future problems. Up to these fast-paced generations, I would say, Sheng Hung, not fastest. So use just a simple adjective rather than a superlative. Okay. All right, but those are some good starts. I think those are good starts. So here, notice students, just a kind of a warning to some of you. In body paragraph 1, I end with, but they are worthless without being able to preserve and build the future. If I finish my body paragraph 1 with this kind of an idea, it's not that good to start the next sentence with on the other hand, because then it's like I'm contradicting this very last statement. It's a bit awkward. So I wouldn't start with on the other hand in this case, as a couple of you did. So Li Ying started with on the other hand, and for Dobbs as well. So careful using on the other hand when you start your body paragraph, depending on what your last sentence is in your previous paragraph. Okay, I hope that makes sense. All right. Okay, good. So body paragraph 2, now we move on to the explanation. So give me the explanation, students. Explain yourselves. So what do you mean that we have to invest time and effort to raising our children and looking towards the future? So what is that? Give me a very clear explanation that should include some um, concrete, clear, visible, measurable explanation or idea. Okay. All right. I'm going to do the same. So this is my explanation coming up. Focus on your own. Try not to get too influenced by my explanation. Okay. So there's my explanation. All right. Um, Parents need to take as much time as possible, perhaps 8 hours or more a day, to ensure that their children are prepared for their future challenges, like dealing with difficult economics and environmental situations. Economic and environmental situations. Okay? All right. Preeti says, in this contemporary life, parents need a lot of determination and patience to raise their children so they can accept the changing world and solve challenging issues. Like what, Preeti? Introduce those challenging issues. Um, it's very nice writing, Preeti. Very clean writing. Okay, that's nice to see. Very few, or actually no grammatical mistakes as far as I can see. Uh, Try to funnel it to be even a little bit more specific, Preeti. So notice how I included those challenging issues like economics and the environment. Obviously, those come to our minds when we think of what are challenges today. Well, we live in a world that has a lot of economic challenges for sure, as well as environmental challenges. So those are good to include. Kumar says, how efficiently our society functions depends wholly on how much time parents are able to spend with their children. Okay, Kumar, I like it. You're in the right direction. Maybe another sentence more to give an even deeper explanation to that topic sentence. The other point, Kumar, is avoid the word will. Interestingly, even in this kind of an essay where we're talking about the future, we try to keep the word will out of the essay just because we want our essay to be an argument now for the reader, not for the future, but for now. So it still makes sense, Kumar, if you write, how efficiently our society functions depends wholly on how much time parents are able to spend with their children. Another tip, Kumar, is in most cases, it's better to write without question markers. So you're stating your ideas how efficiently and how much time, parents. Try to rewrite that so you're not using the word how, but you're using other nouns and other words instead. So I would state it something like this, Kumar. The efficiency of our society's function depends wholly on the amount of time parents are able to spend with their children. So notice how I'm able to take out those hows, Kumar, and make it an affirmative sentence. Okay. Generally speaking, you want to avoid question words in your writing when you are making a statement, you're making an argument, you're creating a position. So you're avoiding words that weaken that argument, okay? And question words often do weaken your credibility or your knowledge of that information. All right. All right, I'll read over a few more here. So Amarjeet says, topic sentence. On the other hand, it is productive and fruitful to spend time for learning about present and future family to create a luxurious and successful life. There's a few missing words there, Amarjeet, at the end. Li Ying says, learning current self and family status, which allows people to gain knowledge of available resources within the family and certain contexts, make it feasible to implement a plan for both short and long-term goals in order to improve overall life quality. Li Ying, very long, complex sentence, definitely has some mistakes there. The word subsequently is not needed, so just careful, notice that correction. Ferdovs says, parents should pay attention to their children's behaviors, track study achievements. Moreover, they ought to force their progenes to participate in extracurricular activities like sports and dancing. Ferdovs, that's a beautiful explanation. Conceptually, it's wonderful. Really is. Good one. Just a couple of slight word form mistakes. Natural way is extracurricular activities. Extracurricular activities. Okay. All right. Let's keep going here. Sheng Hung says, according to technology and the internet, people can easily find the history of generations. Children do not spend much time on reciting history, but rather focusing on future problems is more important. Sheng Hung, I think you have a lot of redundancy to the previous paragraph there. That's not necessary because we've kind of explained that. Also, Sheng Hung, if you want to reiterate that, it's probably best to save that for your conclusion. Okay, so save that for your conclusion. Preeti says, parents need to train their children about financial management and the ever-changing weather so they can survive and sustain themselves in the future. Preeti, that is also a beautiful explanation because you're building off of the actual explanation that I've given here with the economic and environmental situation. So very good. Okay. All right. One more, Kisi. Environmental issues are global problems. It needs time and labor to deal with these. So parents should invest energy in their children to get this crucial international education. Okay, good. So let's give an example here. Okay, so let's give an example. Rather than worrying, write your own example. I'm going to be a little bit quiet so I don't confound your thinking. Don't influence it too much. And then we'll compare. All right. There is my example. All right. So rather than worrying about my family tree, I weaken the previous position. I have begun investing an hour a day to communicate with my daughter about the importance of respecting money and using it wisely. This is in hopes of enabling her to be successful in a harshly competitive capitalist society. Okay, so there I am giving an explanation. Now, if I still have more time and I'm feeling confident that I can finish my conclusion and I know where I'm going with this, I might add a little bit more as well. I'm, I am, don't use contractions in the academic especially. I am teaching her to recycle and reuse as much as possible so that she can safeguard nature now and in the future. Okay, so another example for that second point that I made, which are the challenges for the environment. Okay. All right, for Dobbs states, for instance, most Nobel laureates are well educated and well prepared to solve present and future challenges. Also, their inventions make lives both better and more comfortable. Yeah, for Dobbs, careful with your repetitions. A better life is usually a comfortable life, so you don't need both. Also remember that it's a good idea to reflect the voice of your essay in your example. So if your voice is first person, if in your thesis you say that I believe the second is better, it might be a good idea to reintroduce the first person voice in the example part of your essay. In university, this will be different. It will be third person most of the time. But in the IELTS, first person is okay as long as you use it well. Okay. CO Goose has a question. CO Goose says, one question, if the question does not directly ask to give your own examples, is it still okay to use I as a subject throughout the body paragraphs? Very good question, CO Goose. No, I wouldn't. So if the question appears to be third person, objective, it's asking for your objective voice, not your personal position, then I would avoid using I and I would write a third person essay. Okay? This question very clearly asks for my position. It says discuss both sides and give your own position, right? Kumar Medavan says, for instance, so this is Kumar's example, for instance, my parents never had a graduate in their family, but that did not stop them from encouraging me to pursue higher studies. This has not only allowed me to earn respect in society, but also make myself financially stable. Kumar, a beautiful example to support your argument of why it's a good idea to invest into current and future generations. And Kumar, you can even go one step further and say, I will surely pass on this knowledge to my children and encourage them to be even better. So you can even add that extra gold diamond star to the end of that statement by saying that you will pass on this knowledge. Okay, it's very good example, Kumar. Amarjeet says the explanation is parents spend a hefty amount of money to make their children more creative so that they can face any types of challenges in coming life. Okay, Amarjeet, couple of small mistakes, but otherwise a good explanation. Kisi says, according to a recent report published by The Economist, it is said that the ration of a family consumption on children's education has increased rapidly for the past 10 years, and human living conditions are becoming better and better. Kisi, I'm slightly following your example, but it's a little bit removed, I think, from the argument. Try to think of another example that's targeting the explanation a little bit more clearly. Okay. Remember, it has to be, your example Kisi, should include the idea of investing time to foster children. Okay. Sheng Hung says, for instance, people use technology to spread the knowledge of cutting down on carbon footprint, such as becoming a vegetarian and doing less traveling to reduce climate change. And then Sheng Hung finish it with, surely it is critical to pass this knowledge on to children and future generations to sustain life on Earth. Then, Shanghung, it's a good example because you have to, just like with Kisi, you have to remember not to be removed from the explanation. Okay? All right, we can conclude this paragraph. It's not absolutely necessary because the conclusion is coming next, okay? But you could state something like, for these reasons, I choose to pay attention to the current and future generation rather than dwelling on my family's past. Okay, so that would be a concluding sentence for this body paragraph. And then after this comes the conclusion. Okay, now for the conclusion, you need to have your points restated. Okay, you need to have the argument strengthened. And you need to have a take-home message. I don't have enough time to go into these in great detail, so I'm just going to present you with the conclusion as I would write it. And I encourage you to do the same in these last few minutes, and then I'll try to take a peek at least what you have, okay? So here we go. In conclusion, people spend time to explore their family tree, and this does have benefits. However, the advantages of spending time or spending such time with children of today and adults of tomorrow is better invested for the greater good of humanity. Since our time is finite, it is vital to evaluate where we focus our attention. Okay, so that's my take-home message. So there's my conclusion. In conclusion, people spend time to explore their family tree, and this does have benefits. However, the advantages of spending such time with children of today and adults of tomorrow is better invested for the greater good of humanity. Since our time is finite, it is vital to evaluate where we focus our attention. Okay, so that is my conclusion, and that wraps up the essay. All right, members, that's it for this class for today. You're going to have a bit of a break over the next week. Like I say, I will be back on the 14th. We will have a members chat class on the 14th, and I will do my best to introduce a couple of extra classes over the following 2 weeks to make up for some of that lost time. I will post that schedule. You've done an excellent job, and I'm very, very impressed by your writing, by how you have developed. And I'm saying you in general here to all of you. So I see a lot of nice new words coming into your vocabulary, new sentence structures. I can actually feel the confidence improving in your writings. So many of you are getting your sentences out faster into the chat with more clarity. And more accuracy. That's fantastic to see. All right, everyone watching, thank you for being in this class. In 30 minutes, you will have a listening Section 3, Section 4 example for this exam with questions and answers and some strategy coming up. So stay tuned for that. You're very, very welcome, Jayaram and Firdavs. Thanks, Li Ying. I will certainly do my best to have a fun, relaxing time and come back to you recharged and full of good spirit. And remember, everyone, you can get lots and lots of help and see lots of HD video classes by joining the premium course at aehelp.com for academic and gieltshelp.com for general. That's it for now. See you in 30 minutes for some listening practice and strategy.